Sometimes art is prophetic, and sometimes I don't know how to offset it. The words too authentic to constantly do what I do and augment it. Y'all talk a big game, can't tell if y'all meant it. As seconds turns to minutes, the ticking will tell all. Will you hold firm or steadily fall? Will you conform with the ways of the world, or will you give the world everything that you are? Make them fuckers move around you, kinda like sound do. Break out of everything that they had you bound to. You got knocked down, ho, get ready for round two. It's round two, get ready for round two. Come back, run rap, run laps around these cats, jump back. Kiss myself, still keeping me intact. Weird and black, they for that, hold up, steer it back. Weird and black, they revere that, yup, you hear that?
Turnstile, switch it up. Young nigga raised hard, he learned not to give a fuck. Young nigga came far, still never give enough. Coming with the flavor, delicious, so she lick it up. Bust down, stick it up, I put it down, so pick it up. Scud town, saviors, done some till he shift to musk. Stench so stank that the shit compares soft to us. Crud so dank, make your face smudge dripping, cuz club go shake when the bass gets to hitting ya. They ain't really hearing us, but they gon' feel something when the way is paved clear enough. I don't fear nothing but the fate is God really not. Well, fuck it, got the world in my hands, and that's real enough. Fuck it, got the world in my hands, gold forms to touch. Might just spend it all one time to give it all to us. Yeah, give it all to us.
Yeah, this that hip-hop body rock, hardcore karate chop, neo-Nazi nasty, not feel it in my chest. How could you wear that name? Must be automatic shame. He's an automatic lame, heard it from the best. Fresh flow, let's go, plus I got a lot of heart. It's necessary when you dabble in this art. Grab canvas, paint picture, use them acrylics, paint a picture so vivid the people gotta feel it like the Kaaba. Lyrics bear fruit like guava, words spilling out of my brain like lava. Spills out the top of a volcano, and they know that A-Right is not the one to play. No, I'm Kano in Mortal Kombat, cause the lyrics like blades. Aim it at your juggler when I'm on stage. Until you heard me spit, homie, you ain't heard rage. On another chapter, so turn a turn. Okay, got that out my system. A-Right on another planet, dog, you must have missed them. When I do it, how I do it's of my own volition. Go make my destination even in the worst condition. My crew's the Blues Brothers, cause you know we on a mission. Eternity of roses I make bumping in your system. I mean, banging it, and I'm still hanging it. And I got a gang of wisdom, I got a gang of rhythms, I got a lot of soul. I found the pot of gold, I'm wrapping that shit up, gon' sell it to the globe. I got some game to give them, they don't really want, but they really need it. And I want you to succeed, I want you to be free. I want you to remove every obstacle from being what you truly wanna be. I truly wanna see, and I can only lead by example. So here's a sample from me, so get up.
one drinking beer. I'm just water.
2 touchdowns a game?
Yes, in the game. You're tripping. How you high? No,
Greatest Super Bowl time.
I don't know what we're doing in that front office, man. Twiddling our fucking dick.
Ryan, I just need you to drink this.
Wide receiver trivia. That's what she said.
Her.
Fuck.
Her upset.
Are those crutches?
You can see Ryan's crutches. What is going on, folks? Welcome back to After Further Review. This is episode 150. I'm your co-host, Jalen Brown.
I'm your other wonderful co-host, Q Brown, back from the grave, basically.
And I am back to being the most hated co-host. My name is Malin. I cannot believe we made it to 150, Jalen.
And I'm your other great co-host all the way from Sarasota, Lester.
And our special guest this week, we have from Fantasy Good Sports, TD. What's up, CD?
What's going on, bruh?
It is a pleasure to have you on. For those that don't know, Fantasy Good Sports, easily one of the best fantasy football channels on YouTube. So if you're looking for some good fantasy football tips, we're going to get some from him today. But, of course, you can check out his channel. The link is down in the description below. So be sure to do that. But besides that, how are we all doing today? Shaq is back.
Good.
Shaq's back. I'm good. Happy to be back.
I tell you what, spending 3 days in the hospital, but seeing the Shaq's Dome over there makes me a happy person. It's almost worth it. Almost worth it.
Yeah, I thought we lost Shaq, but I'm happy, man, to have you back. And you missed the Steelers' predictions. That would have been gold.
I'll be all right. I already know my prediction. That's all that matters.
I think you purposely stayed away that long.
Yeah, the timing.
Just one more week.
Would we like to take a cheers to the top of the show?
Mel. I don't wait for no damn cheers.
I did. I put it up.
All right. So,
Already me.
a little bit of house cleaning first. If you do not know, we live stream the show every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time here on YouTube. You can click subscribe to the Melheims Media YouTube channel. That way you'll be notified every time we go live. Be sure to drop a like while you're there as well. But you can weigh in the live chat as we do the show. If not, if you somehow, some way have something else going on a Wednesday night, you can watch the show after the fact on your favorite podcast platform, or you can catch the replay right here on YouTube. But that's the first link down in your podcast description below to be taken to the replay of this episode on YouTube. With that being said, let's get into the first topic of the week, which we are going to break down the AFC West, give our predictions for how we think this division is going to go. We're getting down to the wire here, folks. We only have the 2 West divisions left, and then, we're done, and we should be to the start of the season. So, yeah. How we're going to do this is just go around. Each one of us will give a record prediction for each team and why we think they'll get there, any notable wins or losses. But we will start. Let's start with the Las Vegas Raiders. And Shaq, you can take it away, sir.
Not a very impressive season going for these wonderful Raiders. I only have been winning about 3 to 4 games this season, in my personal opinion. I don't think they'll be doing too well. Just saying, look at the draws, how they could be going about this.
So how many games are they winning?
I'm going to just go ahead and get them 3 wins for the season.
Sheesh. Shaq comes back and gives them 3 wins.
Josh McDaniels. It's either Jimmy G or Josh McDaniels. Somebody broke his heart.
TD, what do you think the Raiders are going to do this season?
So I gotta admit, they have surprised me in preseason. I know you might say, "Well, preseason." Well, last year they didn't look like a tough team, but I think Josh McDaniels have done a lot in the offseason. This team looks good. I was worried about Jimmy Garoppolo, but I see Aiden O'Connell, the backup, the guy that they drafted. He looks good. I think this team is going to win 10 games this year because I believe that this defense has got better. They have a lot of good draft picks that they have picked over the years that's finally come together on the defensive side. So I believe they're going to win 10 games this year. They're going to surprise a lot of people. Josh McDaniels is a really great offensive coordinator. You can never doubt him the way he manufactured targets for his top wide receivers like Devontae Adams. And also, I think Hunter Renfrow is going to have a really good season. So I think they're going to win 10 games.
Cool. So 10 games from TD, 3 from Shaq. Let's go Nestor next.
All right, I got him at 9-8. I think they have a pretty good schedule as far as like difficulty. So that's why I didn't give them anything higher. I think they'll do good. They have a pretty solid team. Jimmy G's decent. As far as notable wins or losses, I got them beating the Vikings week 14. Other than that, like I said, week 3, sorry, Shaq, they are beating the Steelers. But other than that, nothing special. So yeah.
Other than that.
Got to squeeze that in there.
All right, 9 wins from Nestor. Malin, what are the Raiders doing?
I got to be honest, like I wasn't expecting as much silver and black love as we're getting right now. It's kind of got me off my game right now, but Nestor normally surprises me with his dumbass picks anyways. I got him going. He hasn't been right about anything. It's just let's call it what it is. He's right about all things soccer, international football, but he's a Dolphins fan. Can't trust him. I got him going 6-11. I got him going 6-11 because I think Jimmy G's probably going to be healthy for about 7 games. And that's probably about as many games as he's going to need to stay healthy for them to get 6 wins. When I was doing the predictor on all of these games, I was actually predicting like Jimmy G getting hurt in week 3 and then not coming back until the end of the year, where they end up beating the Vikings and the Colts and the Broncos at the end of the year to sell out some wins. But, you know, I got them losing to the Broncos in week 1. I got them losing to Buffalo in week 2. I'm Shaq. I got them beating the Steelers. That's nothing against you. I promise. I'm not trying to be mean your first week back. I did this a while ago. But I do think that Jimmy G healthy has an offense that's more talented than an offense that he had in San Francisco, if he can stay healthy. Now, Josh McDaniels may not be the offensive mind that Kyle Shanahan is, but I do think he's close. But, I mean, you're talking about Devontae Adams. You're talking about Renfrow. I don't know what the hell happened to Waller last year. But they need Josh Jacobs back. Josh Jacobs has to come back and carry the rock. If he's not running the football, they might win 2 games. So they need to get Josh Jacobs back. I'm not even sure if he is signed yet. I think him and Taylor are still holding out. Are they not? I don't think that Josh Jacobs has signed his franchise tender, has he? I think so.
I'm not sure.
I don't think he's playing.
No, he hasn't came back.
Yeah, which is also pissed me off when we talk about fantasy football, having Taylor and Jacobs out there just in the wind in fantasy football. I like that. But so that's why I got him at 6 wins. If Jimmy G had a history of staying healthy, I maybe could squeeze out a few more. But, I mean, you're talking about, like, the first or second toughest division in football. It's going to be hard to get a lot of wins strung together in that division. So I got him going 6-11.
6-11. G-Money's in the chat. Shout out to him. He also says 6-11. I don't believe Jimmy G stays healthy, and I am not sold on Josh McDaniels. So there's that. I I was giving Shaq crap for giving them 3 wins. I'm saying they're 4-13.
Give them one more extra win than me.
Yeah, I'm just looking at their schedule wise. They've got a fair amount of tough opponents. Obviously, they've got the Chiefs twice. They've got Buffalo in there, and LA twice. That's still no easy feat. Yeah, for the kind of the same reasons that G Money just brought up, but I think it's just even worse. Like Jimmy G, I just cannot see that him staying healthy. And then Josh McDaniels, I'm really not sold as him as the head coach. That just seems like a shit show to me. But they do have plenty of talent. That's really not their problem. The talent is there. It's just the quarterback and the coaching position. I'm just very big question mark to me. So 4-13 in my book.
I think drawing the NFC North for the AFC West this year is a downfall for the Raiders because I think other teams in division might be better than the bulk of those teams, but are the Raiders really better than Miami, Detroit, Chicago? Yeah. I don't know what Fields is going to do. And Derek Love hasn't looked like a slouch out there in Green Bay. God freaking help me if they end up with another franchise quarterback. That's just going to piss me off.
All right, let's move from the Raiders over to the Broncos. Shaq, what are the Broncos doing?
I have them going the same record Millen had the Raiders going, wonderful 6-11. I feel like they do a little bit better than the Raiders do. Have a little more confidence in Millen's homeboy that be the more complete quarterback. So I'm just saying he pulls through. He has another season under his belt, more comfortable with the team. So
well,
it's your
TD, go ahead.
Yeah, so I have Denver going 9-9, and the reason why I'm giving them 9, I think they have a really elite defense. I think Sean Payton has to put his imprint on this team, so they will struggle this year, but they will be 500 just because of his coaching analysis. So I believe they'll win 9 games this year because of the defense. They have a top 5 defense.
All right, I feel that. Nestor.
I got them going 7-10. So I think their defense is going to carry them a lot this season, but I just don't see, looking at their schedule, week 16, for example, I'm a little bullish on the Patriots this season, Jalen.
Yes, sir.
They're gonna do good. So I can't see them beating the Patriots. Whenever I look at another game, the other games I have them losing, like they get the Chiefs twice. I can't possibly give them certain W's. Like they beat the Vikings week 11. But yeah, for certain games like week 15 against Detroit, I'm way more bullish on Detroit. So yeah, 7-10 for me.
All right, 7-10, Malin.
All right, this one hurts my heart because I don't want to give them any shine. Makes me angry. Actually, I'm going 10-7. I'm going 10-7. I think that you replace Nathaniel Dumbass Hackett with Sean Payton. He thinks it's really important to outlaw bucket caps, but then wear one himself. So I think that's really funny. But I think that's at least 5 wins. I do think that Denver has a very talented squad. It's all going to depend on, was Wilson's last year in Seattle and his first year in Denver, was that a fluke, or is Russell Wilson still Russell Wilson? If Sean Payton can turn it back into Russell Wilson like he was in Seattle, then they can win more games. The only problem is the old Russell Wilson, is that going to fit into a very precision type West Coast offense that Sean Payton likes to run? There was a lot of ad-lib, a lot of razzle-dazzle in Seattle. And, we loved it 80% of the time. We hated it 20% of the time when he would run around. but some of those plays he would make were just majestic, but they were always on the fly. Drew Brees was so great in the Saints offense because of how surgical he was. And Russell Wilson's never been that type of quarterback. People like to compare him and Brees because of height, but that's pretty much all they have in common. Brees was a heck of a lot more accurate with the football. Russell Wilson has a better deep ball, but he needs to roll out of the pocket to be able to do that. And if he doesn't have the threat of the run with his legs, is he going to be as effective running out of the pocket or rolling out of the pocket? So I know he had that one run, in the preseason, and he only played like 12 snaps. And Sean Payton said that he liked it, but Sean Payton's been a little bit weird with Russell Wilson in this offseason. He said that the first team offense was going to play at least 24, 25 snaps. And then he pulled Russell Wilson out after 12 plays and put Stidham in there. Had Stidham run 14 plays with the number ones. Why are you doing that if you're so sold on him being your number one quarterback? And then in the post-game press conference, he said that's always the plan. So I don't know if he's trying to play head games. I don't really think Russell Wilson needs head games, especially if you've seen him with that helmet with the big-ass padding on it. Looking like a Funko doll. It's hilarious. But 10-7, tying for the division. Their conference rank is 7, so they're going as a wild card. I have them starting off 2-0, beating the Raiders in Washington. I got Miami beating them. Esther, I got Miami beating Denver. Okay, see? Here's my olive branch. They beat teams like Green Bay. I do think they'll probably sneak out one against Kansas City. I have that in week 8. I'm not even 100% sure if Chris Jones is going to show up until then. So I kind of have that factored into my Chiefs record too. But I have them going on a little bit of run, 13, 14, 15, beating Texans, Chargers, Lions, losing to the Patriots, losing to the Chargers, and losing to the Raiders in the last week of the season. Just because that's what Russell Wilson does. He loses games late that he should win. But 10-7, I think that's pretty respectable for the squad that they have in the division that they're in.
Yeah, I've got them going 11-6 for a lot of the same reasons that you just mentioned, Malin. I think that Sean Payton's going to bring in some structure into this offense. I mean, as we saw last year, defense, really not a problem for them. It's just the offense really need some direction and some competency, to be honest. But yeah, I also have them losing to Miami in week 3. I also have them splitting to Kansas City. As far as LA goes, I think I've got them splitting to them as well. Yeah, splitting to LA. But yeah, they've got a solid schedule. I think it's kind of right in the middle of the road. But yeah, I think they pick up 11 wins, the Broncos, and possibly a wild card spot in the playoffs. I guess we'll have to see how the division shakes out. But G Money says he has Denver going 9-8. They really have a weak schedule. Denver last year had a top 10 defense, and they now have a head coach, so that should help the team.
Are these guys aren't these teams playing 18 games this season?
17.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm counting here on the schedule. I'm seeing like 18 games.
Yeah,
on the
18
schedule.
with the bye. 18 weeks.
It's 18 weeks, yeah.
Oh, is
When
it?
you
Okay.
said 9-9, I wasn't going to say nothing, TD.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so let's move on to the Chargers. Go ahead, Shaq.
I have Chargers going 10-7 this year. I still see them being like very competitive this year, just like last year, and being a very solid and hard team for the rest of the division to deal with. I said they do break even with Kansas City. They'll take one from Kansas City this season again, so I'll go 10-7.
All right, TD.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I was just counting the games. We on what team did we say?
Chargers.
The Chargers. Yeah, I got the Chargers going 12-6.
Okay.
I think this is going to be a high explosion offense. I think Justin Herbert is going to bounce back. He had an injury last year, and I think that cost him. That's why they lost that playoff game. He couldn't move outside the pocket. But now with him having a being more healthier this season, I think he's going to be able to get outside the pocket and make more bigger plays. And this team is going to do really well. So I got him winning 12 games this season.
All right, Nestor.
9-8. I couldn't give him any other wins outside of what I gave them. Like week 10, I have them losing against Detroit, but I don't see them beating Kansas City either of those two times. They lose to the Ravens week 12. I think the Ravens are gonna come back really strong. They beat the Broncos week 14. Yeah. I'd say the only bad loss would be week 14 against, not week 14, 15 against uh, the Raiders. So yeah, 9-8 for me.
All right, Malin.
All right, now I don't like this record, but again, when we're doing these simulators, we're going through every single week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they're going to have an inflated. I think they're going to be this year's Minnesota Vikings. I think they're going to go 13-4. I think they're going to have an inflated win total, but it's because of like the lack of strength of schedule that they're going to be facing. Their strength of schedule is barely going to be 500. I have them going 7-0 against teams that are going to end up having losing records, 6-4 against teams with winning records. I have them, losing a couple divisional games, and losing to the Bills. But outside of that, I just have them stacking up a bunch of wins against teams like the Dolphins, Tennessee, Dallas, the Bears. I think they'll beat the Jets in week 10. I do have the Lions beating them, but I haven't beaten Green Bay. I'm not sold on the Ravens just yet. I haven't beaten the Ravens. I'm really bullish on this offense. And again, they haven't done anything in the postseason, and they piss everything away late. So that's why I say that they're the AFC's version of the Minnesota Vikings. You got all the talent in the world, but you can't do anything with it because maybe your head coach can hack it. I don't know. But you look at Eckler, you look at the wide receivers that they have. I mean, they're stacked. They have to stay healthy. The wide receivers have to stay healthy. Sometimes Keenan Allen and what is it, Mike Williams? Mike Williams? Is it Mike Williams?
Yeah.
It is. Okay. They trade off who's going to be on the IR. It's like they're in the locker room doing paper, rock, scissors on who's going to end up on the IR next. But if they can stay healthy, I just see like an easy bubble type schedule for them where they're just going to rack up a bunch of wins, but it's going to be a lot of weight wins, a lot of shallow wins. I don't think it's really going to mean much when it comes playoff time. They're going to be like the Tennessee Titans when they were the number 1 seed in the AFC a couple years ago.
G Money says he has them going 12-5. And shout out to CHB in the chat. He says Packers winning 11 games. I said what I said. All right, CHB. Thanks for that.
Okay.
The Packers input.
Everybody have faith in your squad.
Yeah, he's put it into the universe, speaking into existence.
It's very unlike what I just said. That must be the medication I'm on.
I've got the Chargers going 11-6. I think they're going to have a lot of back and forth for the first half of the season or so. And then from about week 12 to week 16, I've got them going on just a winning streak there, beating Baltimore, New England, Denver, Vegas, and Buffalo. And then dropping the last 2 games to Denver and Kansas City. That offense, I think, is going to be very explosive this year. It's a really good comparison to the Vikings of last year, Mainland, because they're gonna look really really hot as long as they can stay healthy. Which is I think that's like I feel like every single week we keep saying about everybody. Like as long as they stay healthy, that caveat has to be there. But as long as they stay healthy, this offense should be one of the best in the league. So I've got 11 wins for the Chargers. Now let's hop on into the last team here. Reigning champs, the Chiefs. Shaq, what's Kansas City doing?
Once again, I'm gonna have them going 14-3. I was gonna have less losses, but I'm calculating for bad calling on refs or very close games and some fluke shit happening. So 14-3, they're too much of a powerhouse for me to give them anything under like 13, 12 wins for the season. So
TD.
Yes, I got them going the same thing. I got them going 14-3. I think this defense is going to be sneaky this year. They have a lot. They had a lot of young DBs last year that played really well. So I think they're going to have like 4 DBs that got a lot of playoff experience and a lot of they just have a lot of experience. Period. So I think they're going to be locking people down, and they will be able to get to the passer when they need to. Spagnuolo is a really good defensive coordinator, so they're going to surprise a lot of people on their defensive side. Pat Mahomes may take a little bit down, may take like a little downtick in his stats, but I think this team would be better overall, and they would be going deep into the playoffs again. So I think 14-3.
All right, Nestor.
I think winning a championship makes you just a tidbit weaker. So just they're winning one game less, 13-4.
I thought he was going to say
They're-
one game.
They are going to. I hope not. But notable wins. They beat my Miami Dolphins in Germany. Is it week 9? Man, I would love to beat that team in Germany. I don't know. It'd be fun. Other than that, I see them losing week 15 to the Patriots. Jalen, say no.
What?
Again, I said I'm bullish.
Nestor,
13-4, by the way,
you guys going to
but
the
they lose
Super Bowl
against the
too?
Patriots week 15. So yeah.
All right. 13-4 from Nestor. Malin.
Okay, so I don't want to sound like a pessimist when it comes to the Chiefs this year, because they've been the best team in the AFC for a long time. But when I ran through everything, they actually finished out 10-7 in my simulator. And I went and I looked back. How could they possibly finish 10-7? And I really zeroed in on weeks 5 through 9, where I had Minnesota beating Kansas City in Minnesota. I had Kansas City beating Denver at home. I had the Chargers beating Kansas City. I have Denver beating Kansas City at Denver. And I have Miami beating Kansas City in Germany. If it works out that way and they end up going 1-4 in that stretch, then all of a sudden the 13-14 that even I was thinking I was going to end up with isn't going to be able to happen. Now they started out strong, they ended up going 4-0 before they lose to the Vikings in week 5 and beating the Dolphins in week 6. So they end up going, like, they start off really strong and they rip off some more wins, but I kind of feel like Buffalo has a good shot at beating them because they always play Kansas City tough, and Cincinnati seems to have their number. Even if they win, they only win by a field goal. So I mean, you could flop one of those two with Buffalo and Cincinnati. I don't think they're beating both of those teams, so maybe they end up with 11. But I'm really going to be looking at that week 5 through 9, and if I'm right about that, then they're going to be struggling to get to 11 wins on the year. And the reason why I'm thinking about this, now TD did bring up the defense. He has a good point. They had some corners that have a lot more experience. But we're getting into the years now of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. It is really going to dictate, are they Belichick and Brady like? or is their run going to be shorter? Because this is the time where you have to start retooling more than anything. The three biggest names that you can name from that first Super Bowl win, that was just a few years ago, is Mahomes, Kelsey, and Chris Jones. And Chris Jones is holding out, and he's saying that he'll stay out for 8 weeks so he can afford it. God, I wish I could say that. I wish that I could say that I could hold out that much and not miss that money. I would cry if that was the case. So they have to be able to retool at the offensive side of the ball. They've been reshuffling some retreads with wide receivers the last few years with Juju and Sammy Watkins and stuff. I don't know if they got somebody on like that on this roster this year. So are you going to be more heavily reliant on Kelsey than you already have been? This running back that they picked up better pop in the draft, and these defensive players, like, it's really going to come down to Andy Reid's coaching. And I really think he could do it. And I would still think the Chiefs, even at a 10-7, and even if they get in the wild card, I mean, Nick Wright in FS1 calls it the Lamar Hunt championship game for a reason, because the last 6, I think, or 5 or 6 have been played in Arrowhead. But I just think there's going to be a little bit of a tougher year for them, a little bit more reshuffling of the roster, and we'll see if they have the makeup with Mahomes and Reid to retool and regroup and stay at a championship pedigree the way that the Patriots were able to do for so long. And keep in mind, the Patriots were off for a few years before they won another Super Bowl. Like, they were relevant, but they went from 2007 to 2014 before they won another Super Bowl. So even they took a dip. They didn't go below 10 wins on a year, but they were doing average. I remember they got the brakes beat off of them by Baltimore in the playoffs one year, like 40-0 or something. So even the greatest of teams have a down year. I'm trying really hard to sell it if you can't see. But week 5 through 9, watch it. I might look like a genius. If I end up looking like an idiot, that's fine. That's what I do anyways most of the time.
All right. What was your final win total again?
Man, I told you 10-7. You gave me the bug-eye look. I saw the look you gave me.
G Money has him going 13-4. He's also bringing up Chris Jones holding out, so he made his prediction before Chris Jones said that. So there's that. I've got them going 14-3. Yeah, I think this is kind of a still their division to lose for sure, and I'm kind of hoping really that this year that the media and everybody is past, like, if KC drops a game or two here and there where everybody's like, oh, they're not as good as they were last year. There's no way this team is Super Bowl bound. Like, can we please stop that narrative if they start losing a couple games? Because we know how this team operates. They're allowed to lose some games, folks. It happens. When the playoffs come around, that's when they really hit their stride and just dominate. So I'm not buying into it this year. You will not hear me saying one time that the Chiefs are over. I don't give a damn if they're 0-16 by the time December rolls around. I'm not saying it.
I think they'd be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs at 0-16. I am saying that I still have them going to the AFC Championship game.
Right.
Really do. The only thing that I really hope happens is that Shaq picks up Patrick Mahomes and he rolls an ankle, and the Chiefs end up 10-7, because then his fantasy team will be fucked, and I will be right on the win-loss record. That'll make me very happy.
I'm basing my fantasy off of also your picks.
You do that a lot. This man got so damn picking up Geno Smith in the last round is like a little fuck around.
And look where Geno Smith got me.
It's like a sarcastic little nod to me, and then he ends up being the most accurate passer in the NFL last year.
It's like you happy because he's doing well, but you also hate him because he's doing well. Purely based off of me.
I was like, every time he's on Shaq's roster, I was like, that mother.
If thought, if anything, if there's a trophy, I wish the trophy was just based off of mailing for my fantasy
think
winner.
my last pick was Kenny Pickett, a joke off of what his last pick of mine was, and how did that turn out for me having little piggy Pickett?
Well,
Well, speaking of fantasy, we are going to get into our fantasy tips for this year. So, like I mentioned earlier, TD's channel is all about fantasy football. So, he is the guru when it comes to fantasy. Listen to what this man has to say, because he will definitely get you some more wins in this fantasy season that we're coming up on here. So, just wanted to open up the floor for us to ask a few questions to TD about things that you should do, things to not do this season. So my first question, I'll kick things off. Is there a position in specific that you think is a must hit this year in 2023?
Yes, it's the quarterback position. And the reason why it's the quarterback position, if you played fantasy years ago, a lot of people played in standard leagues, and the running back was very, very valuable because that's who got the goal line touches, which is like for touchdowns. But now you have quarterbacks throwing the ball 40, 45 times. 10 years ago, you wasn't going to see a quarterback throwing it 40, 45 times unless it was Don Coryell or Andy Reid or somebody that's passed the ball like crazy. Now every quarterback is passing at least 35 times a game, sometimes even 50. So you have to have a good quarterback because these guys are scoring so many points. They might score 40 points, and then your guy give you an okay game, 2 touchdowns, and you only get 25, and you already lost a week because you can't catch up from 15, 20 points. That's the big gap. It used to be for people would wait late and get quarterbacks because the highest quarterback might score 28 and the bottom quarterback might score 18. Now it's like 40 points. You got Justin Fields scoring like 40 points 3 weeks in a row, and you got Kirk Cousins scoring like 19, 20 points, which is a good game, but that's not enough to compete. So now you have to have a quarterback. So I think you need to go and get your quarterback early. And it's like 6 of those guys, 7 of those guys. Like it was in standard league, it was like 7 top running backs, and you had to get one of those guys to actually win the league. That's how it is with quarterbacks. You have to get Pat Mahomes, you have to get Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and it's a couple sleepers every year that you can wait a little bit late and get those guys.
Okay, so I got 2 questions. So I'm gonna ask one, then you answer, and then I'll ask the other one. Okay. So piggybacking off the quarterback. So when you're thinking of quarterbacks, which type of quarterback is more valuable to you? The Joe Burrow, the Justin Herbert type, maybe Patrick Mahomes because he hasn't run much. Or are you looking more at the Hurts, the Lamar Jackson, the Justin Fields, the more of the dual threat where you get more running and you know you're going to get more designed run plays out of that quarterback? Like which style of quarterback is more appealing to you in fantasy?
I would have to go to the Russian quarterback, and the reason why I've picked Lamar Jackson in a couple leagues that I've went to the championship in, and even Lamar worst games, he gave me like 19, 20 points. Do you want to know what Joe Burrow his worst game was? And you know Joe Burrow is a way better thrower than Lamar Jackson, right? I say that, but I think Lamar is a better quarterback overall in this new NFL. But throwing the ball, Joe Burrow is second to none. He scored like 8, 9 points a couple games. Lamar never scored 8, 9 points. Never. So I think running quarterbacks give you a nice floor where no matter what happens, you're going to have a good amount of scoring from that quarterback, even on a bad game. Where throwing quarterbacks, if they don't throw for 300 or 400 yards, they just come out in the game and they hand the ball off and they just keep it safe because their team is up. You might be disappointed, but that quarterback actually played good in the real football. So I like running quarterbacks.
All right, I like that. Now here's my second question. Now keep in mind I'm in a league with all these dumbasses on this show. So if you want to lie and just hit me up privately to let me know whether or not you tell me you're lying. But let's talk about drafting running back strategy because there's really like 2 main strategies. There's your hero running back where you pick one in the first round, like top 2 to 3 running backs, like 4 running backs, and you don't get another running back till like after round 7 or 8, and you use 2 through 7 or whatever to grab your quarterback, wide receivers, tight end, or whatever. And then there's the no running back, where you just load up on quarterbacks, wide receivers, and then you get your running backs later in like the 6th, 7th, 8th round. With having so much transition in running backs, where people changing teams with Jacobs and Taylor and Flux, are you more prone to the one running back because maybe there's going to be so few? Or are you in the no running back rule where you're going to go heavy on wide receiver, quarterback, and get running back later because there's even a lot of rookie running backs later in the draft regardless?
Okay, so let me tell you this, and this is what a lot of my subscribers we go back and forth with a lot. It's 9 ways to skin a cat. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you to go in with a strategy from the beginning because that's how you get upset. People are going to go and take players that you plan on getting because you've been looking at ADP. Oh, I'm gonna go get this guy. I'm going zero RB because this is the guys that how my mock draft has been going, and then that guy's not there.
Yep.
I say go into the draft and be open minded. I like to go zero RB because I like to get late round running backs and get a bunch of them. Because if you look at the end of the season, the guy that you think is going to win, like it's going to win people leagues, is not really the guy that was going to win you leagues. Look at Cam Akers. Cam Akers was garbage the first 10 weeks of the season last year. And then you go to week 15 when the playoffs started, he was a top 5 back. What about the guys that had Josh Jacobs and those type of guys? Cam Akers outscore those guys. So to me, I'm looking to go zero RB. But if you leave CMC for me to pick, I'm gonna take him. So I'm not gonna just get locked in. I think you got to be flexible. Get the best value on the board and let your team be what it's gonna be. Don't go in and say I'm gonna get this, 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 and this. It'll mess up your team. Have an open mind and take the best play on the board and get the best studs that's gonna score. And I always do this funny thing. I say 30 points, 40 points, 30 points, 40 points. I'm looking for guys that's gonna score big time points because one guy can win you the lead. You get a bunch of average players like, okay, 15, 15, 20. And then one guy on the next team you're playing, he get a guy that goes for 50 points. And you be like, wait a minute, how did he beat me? His team sucks. He had one guy that went for 40 points, 50 points. So I say get the best play on the board.
You hear that, Shaq? He said stay locked into your mock draft.
Tunnel vision.
No matter what happens, stay locked into the mock draft and how you got your people. And don't pick up Christian McCaffrey. Don't do it.
Gino.
Hey, leave him alone. Yeah, get Gino number 1.
CHB says Lamar all day when it comes to fantasy quarterbacks. That man is the Konami code. Anthony Richardson next up, which is a great segue to my next question. Do you have any underrated quarterbacks that you think that people should be keeping their eyes on this draft season?
Yes, guys, and this is probably my best take that I've probably had, and I've been doing this for 3 years. I've been watching football for over 25 years, but as far as doing fantasy, I've been doing it over 3 years. Daniel Jones is going to win MVP. Daniel Jones is going to win MVP. I saw it last year. I saw with Brian Daboll what he did with the guy, and I always knew because I'm from North Carolina, so I watch. Duke is my favorite college team. So when I watched Daniel Jones, and he was solid. He was a good quarterback. I could see how they drafted him in the first round, but not at the number 8 pick. But when I watched the guy as a rookie, and he came out and scored like 4 passing touchdowns with 2 rushing touchdowns and 2 picks as a rookie when they benched Eli Manning, I'm like, oh, this is what Getterman. This is why he drafted this guy. And then they end up getting a new coach, Jason Garrett, which I'm a Cowboy fan, and Jason Garrett is a good coach, but not for a young quarterback that's mobile. He's more for a guy like a Dak Prescott that's going to sit in the pocket and do exactly what the script says. Mm-hmm. And he ruined Daniel Jones. But Daniel Jones is so humble, he didn't go and speak up for himself. Hey, this is bad. And he just did it and he did it. But this is what made him be the quarterback that he's going to be. Daniel Jones, to me, guys, and I'm not being hyperbole here, probably the skill set, he could probably be one of the greatest quarterbacks we ever saw. Let me tell you why. He has the skill set. He can stand in the pocket and manipulate the pocket like Peyton Manning. He's accurate. He's very, very intelligent. He also can go, well, it's a snow game. We need you to run the ball. And he can go out and give you 15 carries. And it's also, he's tough. He's not going to, oh, I'm hurt. He's going to play through injuries. He's done it before. So I think Dayball was gonna put it all together like he did for Josh Allen. Don't you know Josh Allen had the worst completion percentage as a rookie ever? And then he came back out and threw and won. And then when Brian Dayball got there, he had the best completion percentage in the whole league. Guys, I never seen. I was so shocked because I said, Josh Allen, I'm done with him. And that was one of the only misses that I probably had of seeing quarterbacks like grow. But Brian Dayball is something with his scheme that he's really good at, that he can make these quarterbacks get better in the pocket. And I believe this is going to be Daniel Jones' year. He's going to win MVP, and he's going as like the number 9 quarterback off the board. So to me, this is what I'm doing for fantasy. I'm going to get top wide receivers, top backs, waiting late, and then I'm getting Daniel Jones. And I feel good as anybody got. If they got Pat Mahomes, Lamar, I got a good quarterback. Okay, I got Daniel Jones. Watch what he's gonna do. And then you saw what happened last week with him and Darren Waller. And people, my subscribers are coming to me like, TD, man, if you right on this, man, I can't believe it. I'm like, I already know, and like I said, I'm not. Anything can happen in football, but I feel great about this take. I think Daniel Jones is going to win MVP. So, guys, if you bet, go bet on him to win the MVP this year. I think it's great odds.
See, I wasn't gonna go MVP level with Daniel Jones yet, but I have Jalen back me up. I have said on the show that I do think that Daniel Jones can have a career resurgence like Josh Allen, because like you said, Josh Allen was terrible when he first came into the league. Like, he looked like a bust written all over him until he blew up Dayball. And I do like that he is a dual threat quarterback. The one thing that I will say that I love is that your first advice was, number one thing, get your quarterback first, and then you just told me your strategy, which is not that. So I love it, TD. I love you give me the real take.
Right.
And everybody else get that quarterback. I love it.
Right, but there's sleepers every year though. There are sleepers every year. And so I'm not gonna go and give advice and tell people to try to wait and get Daniel Jones. I'm just giving you a guy that I'm waiting to do. But if you are playing fantasy, go get Pat Mahomes, go get Lamar Jackson, go get one of these top quarterbacks. I don't think people's gonna feel comfortable waiting to get Daniel Jones. So to me, I do that, but I'm not gonna recommend other people to do that.
All right, two other questions for you real quick. One, if Saquon Barkley gets hurt, is that going to change the year that Daniel Jones is going to be able to have? That's my first question.
No, I was hoping, and listen, I wanted Saquon to play for the Giants, but I was hoping that he'd get traded because I know people was going to say this. It's all because of Saquon. He don't need Saquon. He don't need Darren Waller. He told you that last year. He did it with Isaiah Hodgson, who was an undrafted free agent, and end up taking that team and winning a playoff game against the Minnesota Vikings, who won 13 games. So he don't need Darren Waller. He don't need Saquon. And they're going to take him to the next level as an MVP candidate, but he don't need those guys to be successful. This guy has Tom Brady-ish type stuff in him. I mean, if you just break down this game, you can tell. Like, he can get outside the pocket. He can manipulate the pocket with guys or lesser talent. But if you give him a Stephon Diggs like they did for Josh Allen, you see how Josh Allen took his game to the next level, and that's what Darren Waller is going to do, and that's what Saquon is going to help Daniel Jones also do.
Okay. I got a question about tight end. Okay. Because not everybody can get Travis Kelce, and he had I think it was over 100 more fantasy points on ESPN than the next tight end next to him. So there's Travis Kelce and everybody else. But tell us who you think the best of everybody else is. Like, who are some tight ends, people out there that are trying to get a fantasy team together? Oh, shucks, Travis Kelce's gone in, the first pick because someone's a dumbass. And now you're left looking for a tight end in later rounds. Who would you be looking for at tight end when Kelce's not there?
Hate to be redundant. Next would be Darren Waller. I actually think Darren Waller has a chance to be better than Travis Kelce this year. But Darren Waller, I'm going with Kyle Pitts over TJ Hawkinson, over George Kittle, over Mark Andrews. The reason why is this guy's a cheat code. Kyle Pitts is a wide receiver. He's like a Calvin Johnson type. But he's playing tight end. So they're going to give this guy targets. They're not going to draft this guy in the top 5 just to give him 5 targets a game. So he's going to command 8 to 9 targets a game, and that's even because his quarterback is not that great. If they ever get a great quarterback, this guy's going to be a cheat code, and I've been worried about them. I've been worried about that because I think they're going to change his position eventually because it's going to be too. It's like, wait a minute, this guy, you can't put him at tight end. He's getting 12 targets, and he's lining out at the outside wide receiver flanker position. So I believe that Kyle Pitts is like a guy that you can get late because people are down on him because of what happened last year because of his injury, and he's gonna boom. I also love Darren Waller. Also, I like Pat Fryermuth as a couple other later guys. I like Pat Fryermuth. Um, who else? And then you got your George Kittles and your Mark Andrews too. Those guys are okay. I'm not really that high on them. I believe in positive regression. Just because they did it last year don't mean they're gonna do it again this year. I like to get young guys who are hungry that's trying to move up. I believe Darren Waller is trying to have a bounce back season, and I do believe that Brian Daboll will manage his injuries. Brian Daboll is a really good coach, so he's gonna say, you know what, you're not practicing today. So I'm basically drafting Darren Waller and Kyle Pitts after Travis Kelce is gone.
All right. I would just like to point out, I think Nestor has a question, but I would just like to point out that yes, Edie is giving a lot of love to the Giants, but he did tell us before the show that he is a Cowboys fan. So if this man is this bullish on Jones, Waller, I better listen because he's gonna drink some mouthwash. This episode.
Go ahead, Nestor.
I just want to say, first thing, I want to see Kyle Pitts do good, but I'm a skeptic after having him last year. I don't know if Atlanta is just not using him right, or there's something going on over there. It's just, I fully believe in his talent, but I'm yet to see it. I hope that this season is it. I really do. Um, I had a quick question. So, as you said earlier, you're probably not going to be able to land the guys you want all the time because everybody else is going to be going for those guys. Like, as far as wide receivers go, um, just because I think running back is a little risky this season. Um, so if you can't land guys like Justin Jefferson, obviously Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, who do you think way down on that table? Like, even after guys like St. Brown, who do you give us like 2 or 3 names? Some guys that you think are gonna like blow up a little bit.
Right. Okay. So again, and I always do this. It's like my little thing that I do on YouTube. Is I 30 points, 40 points, 30 points, 40 points. I like big play wide receivers. I don't care if they might give me 5 or 6 points a couple weeks because I got other guys that's gonna have big weeks too. I like Christian Watson. Now everybody's he can't run routes. The game has changed. I like big play wide receivers. I was one of the first ones on Tyreek Hill 3 or 4 years ago. I said he was a Hall of Famer. People thought I was crazy. He's on his way. I think Tyreek Hill is probably a top 5 player of all time. I'm talking about Barry Sanders, O.J. Simpson. If you look at it, every time he touch it, it's to the crib. Every time just look at go look at his stats. It's almost better than Randy Moss. I think he might be a little bit better than Randy Moss per target. So to me, I like Christian Watson. Also, a guy who's breaking out, who's had a great camp, is Brandon Ayuk from the San Francisco 49ers. The guy route running is impeccable. So I love him at his ADP. Also, a couple other guys I like. I like Jahan Dotson. I think he's better than Terry McLaurin. Now listen, I'm not going to pitch off no injury.
Ask about Terry.
Yeah, I'm not going to pitch off no injury and say, he got hurt. No, I actually said he was better before the injury. Now, Terry McLaurin is a great wide receiver, but Jahan is just a younger, better athlete. And if you look at PFF, which is like a stat-based platform, Jahan Dotson was top 5 up there with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase in deep balls. He also led this team with 7 receiving touchdowns over Terry McLaurin last year, and Carson Wentz actually targeted him in the red zone as a rookie. So that's telling you something. So I love Jahan Dotson. I think he's a guy that's going to boom out, and I think you can get him late almost in any drafts if you don't get those top guys. But real quick before I let you go to your next question, man, Amon-Ra St. Brown is the number 1 wide receiver as far as in fantasy. I said what I said. What I said. He's the number one wide receiver in fantasy, and the reason why, bro, you know, a lot of guys go off athletic ability. I do too. But sometimes you get guys like Antonio Brown, they just mentally so strong and they want it so bad, like Kobe Bryant mentality. Amon-Ra is hurt. And I really mean that. I mean, I'm being funny, but I really mean he's hurt that he can get drafted. And this guy's out to prove something. You know that guy, remember every receiver that was drafted in front of him? So he's out to prove something. So I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. I actually, bro, if you wanted to take Amon-Ra with the number 3 pick, I don't think he can be overdrafted this year. Now I'm not going to tell you to draft the number 1 over Justin Jefferson, but I'm definitely not drafting Jamar Chase over him. I'm fading Jamar Chase this year, and that's a whole nother question. I don't want none of those Cincinnati players.
It was funny you said Antonio Brown are mentally strong, but where you going on that?
It's different ways, man. People are mentally strong in different ways. You know, Beethoven was mentally strong, but he also was. If you go read, he was crazy too. You know, so most crazy people, man, are mentally strong. It's just not in the ways that we would think they are. Antonio Brown is very mentally strong.
I wanted to ask you. I only have 2 more questions for you.
Okay.
As far as rookies go, are there any rookies that you have your eyes on to pick up in more of the later rounds?
Yes. So let me see. Rookies. What rookies would I say? So outside of quarterbacks, which is AR-15, I think he's a great pickup for if you want to wait late for quarterbacks. So look, I don't recommend that, but if you wanted to do that, I think he would be okay with that. He's going to give you a good floor because of his rushing ability. But wide receiver, let me see. Is there a wide receiver? I would say Luke Musgrave at tight end. Okay. For the Green Bay Packers. And the reason why I would tell you to pick up Luke Musgrave is he's playing in the Matt LaFleur offense, and Matt LaFleur offense is a lot of play action game, and that gets your tight ends out in open space. Luke Musgrave was timed at 19 miles per hour as a tight end. He's 6'7", 250. Mm-hmm. So I would like to wait late on tight end and get him as a rookie. Also, who is another rookie? Let me see. It's another rookie out here. Just give me a second. That I'm really on to. Let me see. Yes, for the Giants. Again, I'm back on the Giants. Jalen Hyatt. He's going to be the deep threat. So this is a flex play, a guy you can throw in the flex, and you shouldn't worry about what his output is going to be, because it's not going to really kill you, but he can end up going for 30 points. 2 bombs can give you 30 points. So to me, I like Jalen Hyatt. I think he's going to be a breakout wide receiver just because of Daniel Jones and being a part of this offense.
Okay. My last question for you, as far as defenses go, I'm the type of dude who just plays the waiver wire just week by week. I'm just picking up whatever is best available. Do you have a better strategy for defenses? Do you ride with one and just stick it out through the whole year, or do you also just pick out whatever's best available?
So, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I play in IDP leagues. I want y'all guys to join some of my leagues. I'm gonna make sure I get y'all information. And if you know rush or anything, I know everybody's busy, but you should play in one of my leagues, especially my dynasty leagues. I have 9 defensive starters. I try to make it like a real general manager. That's the name of one of my leagues. It's called General Manager. I got 2 defensive tackle spots, 2 linebackers, 3 IDP, which is you can play any position there, and 2 DBs. So defense, I'm really not into. I just don't like it like that. But the defenses that I am targeting, I don't really have a strategy. I like to try to wait late. I want to build my offensive team first if I do got to do a defense. But the defense that I think is a sleeper that you can get is the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers, they got 8 first rounders on that team starting. So I like Green Bay as a sleeper defense. I would pick them up. Also, I like the New York Giants. I know y'all might say, so listen, when the Giants go far and have a Super Bowl run, I didn't say win the Super Bowl. When they have a Super Bowl run, you would say, well, TD, I understand why he kept talking about the Giants the whole time. And I'm a Cowboy fan. And I told everybody, I said, guys, it hurts me to say this. They're going to win the division. I said this like 3 or 4 months ago. And this team is very strong. So I like the Giants and I like the Green Bay Packers as sleeper defenses. And sometimes you got to also play the waiver ahead of time. So look at schedule. If you see a defense is going to have, especially for the fantasy football playoffs, you see that they're going to have some weak opponents. They're going to be playing some bottom feeders. Go ahead and stash that defense ahead of time. You can't wait till the week to do it. You have to do it about 3 to 4 weeks out and stash that team.
Great advice. Very good. CHB is in the chat. He's saying Calvin Austin is a sleeper, and also says AD is definitely mentally strong, especially playing in the NFL. So there's that. Do you guys have any more questions for TD?
I think we covered just about every position.
Yeah.
I think we did. They're like, hey, TD, read us the whole handbook, man.
Right. Yeah. Again, folks, his YouTube link will be down in the description below. He's got so many videos, like on every single possible position, on basically take everything we just asked him and multiply that by like 100, because he really takes a lot of deep dives into all this stuff. So if you were looking for anything fantasy football related, that is the channel to go to for sure. Yeah, TD, do you want to say anything else before we end the first half?
Yes, guys. I offer consultations. I've helped, I would say a little bit under 10 people win championships. Guys, I haven't won a championship. I've came in second like 7 or 8 times. I know, right? I'm mad at myself too. But it happens. It happens. But I have, guys, if you need a consultation, you need help drafting a team, I can sit there with you the whole draft. Actually, when you sign up for one of my membership tiers, it's only $40, and I sit with you the whole draft. But if you're not part of my membership, then it's gonna cost you $80. But I sit with you the whole time and help you learn how to draft. Guys, go watch my channel and look at all my past videos. I hate to say this, I'm not trying to be bold or anything or cocky. I'm 75% right on the players that I predict about booming, especially like breakouts and sleepers. Now, I'm not right on every player, right? But I am, far as if you look at all the other channels that put out content, I think I'm more accurate. They very safe. Like I said, I was on Tyreek Hill last year. I was on Tua. I said they was gonna have a boom year. I said Tua was gonna have a chance to win MVP. Nobody else in the whole fantasy football atmosphere on YouTube said that. They was like, well, he's using Pat Mahomes. And then you remember Tyreek said that Tua threw a better ball, and people thought that was crazy. He was kind of playing a little bit, but it was true. For a speed demon guy to get the ball out quick, yes, and accurate and real soft for you, yeah, that's good. And they don't need Tyreek in Kansas City. They don't need him like that. So he was trying to prove his worthy. So guys, it's a lot of stuff that I've hit on that no other content creator has hit on. So you want to make sure you sign up for my consultations or just go and subscribe to my channel. It's cutting edge content.
I think Nestor is going to want your information because he's going to need all the help.
Wallet out right now.
Hey, I wasn't last. I wasn't last season. Even though like half of the people were injured, I wasn't last. Let's say that. Almost.
The other people that he was ahead of, like, stopped playing halfway through the year, but he was like on the waiver wire.
Well, that's Jalen's fault. That's my
TD, thanks a ton, man, for taking time out of your evening to come talk with us.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, sir. Anytime. Y'all guys are welcome on my channel anytime. I actually want to do something with y'all guys, if you don't mind. I hit y'all up. Make sure you can my Gmail is fantasygoodsports@gmail.com, and just give me y'all information. That way we can, we could chop it up and, whatever y'all need. If y'all want need me to come on the show again, I'm good with that. If y'all want to come on the show, that's fine. Cool.
For sure.
We should definitely have him in at some point, like maybe quarter way through the season. What advice do you got for people like Nestor that your team is shit through 4 or 5 weeks? How do you
salvage
deal?
Your year.
That can work out.
All right.
Well, thank you so much, sir. We appreciate it.
Yep.
Yes,
y'all
folks,
be safe.
We're gonna go to halftime now, and we will be back in about 10 minutes.
Hey. Yeah.
like I ain't just have on the coat when I landed. Outran it, perched at the edge of the branches. They don't wanna talk mansions, mine look like a campus. And I'm all about my brothers like the niggas I'm sampling. I'll leave you red shirted like the twins from Kansas. Really living my dreams I used to have in my aunt's crib.
This is the first time the Heat have made the finals since LeBron left.
Jesus Christ.
True.
What the fuck?
Nobody wants to guess.
Is it Kyle Lowry?
If Kyle Lowry's number
Do I get the point?
Yeah, I'll give you the point.
I guess two of them. Do I not get points for that shit too? Can I just make a complaint?
How many times have these two teams played each other in the regular season?
Once.
Is incorrect.
No.
Three.
Twice.
You already guessed. Shut up.
Shaq, what was your guess? 3. That is incorrect.
Twice.
2.
G Money, any guesses?
I already said it.
We don't know if that's correct.
Well, I mean,
it is correct.
G Money, try 5.
Why this man had the most amount of points to complain about?
How is it taking that fucking long?
You missed the first question because you answered too fast. Not thinking.
He's stupid.
That's pretty
First of all, this is the last time we're ever doing trivia. I don't give a damn what happens.
Hey, yeah. Trendsetter, band frame getter, with whatever. I buy diamonds when I'm under pressure. When I apply, shit don't ever let up. Yeah. Look, I'm in the cut, the boy in the cut. Jump in the whip with a ceiling go up, we up. All of this grinding for what? It's funny when you niggas thought it was luck.
So who is that? All right, is he Lance Spider Mitchell? You gotta put on the top. Oh, got somebody good. Ooh, Steph Curry. Okay. Ooh, that feels bad. There's Darren Fox. Thank you.
Damn. Is that gonna fall the moment he gets it out?
Oh my god. How am I supposed to even turn this now?
By the way, the person who knocks it over, your lineup doesn't even count.
He took Zion. Listen, that's the best I can do.
Okay, be alright. Jared Allen, you're coming home with me, friend.
Mr. IG Live himself.
Oh, the shooter.
Oh, Jesus.
That was harder than the Bulls fought to get Zach LaVine.
Did you know AFR is also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts? Click the first link in the description below to listen to the most recent episode of the show.
If Miami can maintain their momentum and find a way to beat the Bucks in this series, you will be seeing us in the final. There's no question, ifs, ands, or buts about it, so be prepared to see us.
And the Miami Heat become the 6th in NBA history to win as an 8th seed in the first round.
Game wants his ring, and he's gonna get it. And he's like, "Fuck him." He's gotta play lights out. He's gonna come out there and play lights out. Butler's gonna put the whole load on his shoulders, and I say he wins game 1. Great momentum. That's how you start a series.
All 3 of the previous series, they were the underdog. All 3 of those series, they won game 1. Denver's 9-0 at home in the playoffs. They take game 1. Game 3 of the NBA Finals. The Denver Nuggets win their 4th straight road game in these playoffs and regain home court advantage. Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Denver Nuggets are 1 win away from their first ever NBA title. Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Murray falling away. Rebound, Brown bangs it home. Bruce Brown puts the Nuggets back up by 1. Jimmy Butler on the drive, gets inside, stops. Stolen by Caldwell Pope. And a foul. 2 clutch free throws from Contavious Caldwell Pope. It's over. At last, the long wait is over. After 47 years, the Denver Nuggets can finally call themselves NBA champions.
Yeah, still
cool bitch, I still. Yep, in my white tee. Yeah, call up Mike Williams for the hype, please. They gon' wipe you before you wipe me. My boxes of checks, not my Nikes. Cactus, not no iced tea. Got them bamboozled like I'm Spike Lee. You need more than Google just to find me. I just call a beta, get a hyphy.
Incredible, general.
I just got the label just to sign me. Me and Chase connected like we signed me.
What are your expectations for your own team this NFL season? As a New England Patriots fan, my expectations are just to simply make the damn playoffs and look formidable. We've only made the playoffs once since Tom Brady left us in these past few years, and when we got there, we got absolutely annihilated. So my expectation is like, hey, let's just get back to the playoffs and just put up a solid fight. I'm not expecting us to win a playoff game, and that would be great. But as long as we just, put up a good fight, have a good game, that's my expectation this year for my New England Patriots. But let us know down in the comments below. Name your team and then give us your expectation. Is it just to make the playoffs? Is it to get one playoff win, two playoff wins, make it to the Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl if you're a Chiefs fan? Maybe it's a lot simpler just to have a above 500 record, depending on your team. Everybody has different expectations, so let's hear what yours is. Let us know down in the comments below.
So which team is going to be the dark horse in the AFC? I think it's going to be Baltimore. I feel with Lamar Jackson healthy, OBJ, rookie Zay Flowers, and Todd Monken, I think they're going to get that defensive passing game going. But who do you guys think is going to be the dark horse in the AFC?
Will the Chiefs make their 6th consecutive AFC championship? I don't see how they can't do it. I think they're still the most complete team in the AFC. Maybe not necessarily the most talented, but I think that they have the best quarterback. I think they have the best tight end, and I think they definitely have the best coach. And the only team that I think that has been able to really challenge them has been the Bengals. So if it's Bengals and everybody else, I got to think that the Chiefs are going to be one of the final 2 teams in the AFC again. I guess the bigger question is, are they going to host their 6th consecutive AFC championship at home? They might as well just rename the AFC championship game the Lamar Hunt game, for God's sakes. Anyways, what do you guys think? Chiefs going to make it 6 in a row? Let us know in the comments.
Who do you guys think is going to be winning the AFC West in 2023? I cannot see a situation where the Chiefs do not win this division again. You've got Sean Payton taking over the Broncos. They should be much better than they were last year. Still not better than the Chiefs. The Raiders, big question mark. I don't care what they do. They're still not going to be better than the Chiefs. The Chargers, yeah, they should have a better offense now with Kellen Moore there, but, Brandon Staley's still their head coach, so God only knows. Yeah, I still think it's the Chiefs' division to lose. So who do you guys think is winning the AFC West in 2023? If you say anybody but the Chiefs, you're probably incorrect.
Remember to follow the show on Instagram and TikTok at AFR Sports. That's it, AFR Sports. Now back to the show with your hosts Jalen, Shaquille, and Malin.
Saudi League.
Welcome
And you've got
back.
Messi fans supposed to be saying the only reason that Ronaldo went to Saudi is because he was going to go to prison in Portugal for tax evasion.
Whenever we talk about toxic fans, just remember this.
Welcome
There's one
back
thing that
to
hasn't
the
changed about this
second
show.
half
It's-
of
it's
your
the halftime transition.
favorite show on the internet.
I'm just glad that Toxic Fans is not American centric and that it's everyone because
Oh hell, man!
geez, Lord.
I've been. I went to some Flyers games when I was stationed in North Carolina back in 81, 82. That was bad. I went to an Eagles game when they played the Redskins, and that was bad. But it has nothing. When I was growing up in Europe and went to soccer football matches there, they had police on horses, they had dogs, they had police in riot gear. And they would follow the opposing fans into the stadium, and then they dispersed right around the stadium, and the inside of the stadium, around the football pitch. I mean, you had wars. I think when Liverpool went to Paris to play, I don't know if they were playing PSG or not, but it got so bad that Liverpool was banned. And now they've got pictures of all the fans. And if you've been thrown out of a game or thrown out of a city because you caused a fight or a riot, you can't go back. You can't travel. So when your team goes, you stay at home. And the strange thing is, a lot of these people aren't like 19, 20-year-old
fans
unemployed.
that deserve to
They're
be banned
lawyers
more.
and bankers.
The only fans that deserve to be banned more than Liverpool fans are Chelsea fans. So,
Nestor. Fuck you.
I'm instigating this shit.
You did this.
I mean,
Let's instigate.
I mean, it's like
goddamn food, Nestor.
That's right. I should
when I
be
was
eating
growing up,
right
Man
now.
U wasn't that big of a. It was more Liverpool and Arsenal, you know.
This show is a tale of two halves.
Yeah, Liverpool fans. And now you come over here in the States and everybody's like a Man U fan and they have no clue. It's like, yeah, I'm a Man U fan. I grow up watching Man U. But no, I only started watching like a year ago. It's like, please.
People in America are Man U fans because they sell their shit in Epcot. that's the.
You would think
that's
it's
the
Liverpool because of LeBron. LeBron's a Liverpool fan, so.
You would think so,
Hey.
but
They sell Man U stuff in the English gift shop at Epcot.
UK civilian.
That Celtic don't give a shit about the Celtic team. It's fucking great. That's why America even knows Man U exists.
That's
Oh,
true.
soccer.
Well,
Over there
that's
drinking
an,
ale, eating
so
fish and chips.
the Glazers
wearing
own
chicken
Man U.
98 degrees in Epcot. It's fucking wonderful. How much
So
time
they-
do we have?
Okay.
Oh, we've been back for like 10 minutes now.
What are we doing?
Let's get into our community comments. By the way, everybody, G Money, by the way, if this is your first time watching this Godforsaken show, G Money here. Thank you for joining us once again. Let's get into the community comments. My favorite segment of this show. So this is where you guys weigh in on what we've been talking about this last week on our social media, which is, of course, at AFR Sports, that big banner that's right above us on Instagram and TikTok. So let's start off with your AFC dark horse. So Nestor asked this last week. Let me go ahead and find this video. All right, so I think Nestor, your pick was the Ravens, right?
Right.
Christopher Lockington, very official name, says Chargers was his pick. AFC dark horse. Bowling Green Football says Ravens. Not 100% Ravens. Not getting enough talk. Healthy paid Lamar. He's my pick for MVP also. Jojo Morano says there are no dark horses in the AFC. Almost the entire conference is a legit contender, but for the sake of the video, I'd take Miami. Morgan.Roan says
That,
Jaguars.
was that Nestor's burner account?
Jojo.
It is.
I would never say that.
Wait, we never even did our. Never even gave me a chance to take my shot.
Sorry, I was listening to something else.
That's being an asshole is what you were listening to. Yeah.
All right.
I forgot how to bait.
And then I don't know if I said this, but Morgan.Roan says the Jaguars. And someone else says Denver. Any of you guys have any dark horses for the AFC?
I was going to say
Whoever said Denver, I was going to say the Jags too. I'll let you go before this, but I just want to say whoever said Denver can go fuck themselves. Okay, go ahead, Shaq.
I was going to say Jags. I feel like they're gonna do really well. They're gonna very much upset a lot of teams. Because a lot of people, I feel like, are just gonna sleep on them altogether.
Cardiac cats, baby.
Right.
Let's move on.
Sunshine.
Malin asked the question: will the Chiefs make their 6th consecutive AFC Championship game? Junebug, shout out to June. He says yes. Living Legacy 1 says most definitely. Teron Davis Simpson, he just left a tiger emoji or a leopard or something. I don't know what that implies, but I gotta love it. And then these two people get into not an argument, but I don't even know. Basically, just going back and forth between Travis Kelce is as long as Travis Kelce is there, then they should be in the AFC Championship game. So there's that. Does anybody here doubt that the Chiefs won't make the AFC Championship game again?
Well, back to the first question real quick. I was going to say Jacksonville too is the dark horse, just because I think Calvin Ridley is going to ball out. He's one of my favorite wide receivers, fantasy wise, and I'm really a big fan of Tank Bigsby. That 1-2 punch with Etienne and Bigsby is going to be great, and I think that Trevor Lawrence is gonna have a big year. Even though I got the Chiefs going 10-7, I still have them going to the AFC Championship game. I just don't have it being in Kansas City this year. But I got them going back for a 6th straight. It's hard to, if they're in the playoffs, you just kind of have to assume that they're going to be in that game.
Yeah. And then last video, I asked, what are your expectations for your own team this year? So this one got a little interesting here. So Junebug says, as a Cowboys fan, make the NFC Championship game. Nestor said, if the Dolphins O-line gets Tua hurt again, I'm signing a petition to launch them all to the moon. So
we got to ship them to India, and then we'll ship them to the South Pole of the moon. Good idea.
Beard Stash.
There we go.
Packers. If we are 500, I'll be at least satisfied. We're trending north with love. Jose Campos says, as a Giants fan, I hope the team stays healthy. Maybe win 5 games and keep building up. I don't. This one kind of confused me because
didn't they
did well.
Yeah, because then they win more than 5 games last season. I'm pretty sure they did.
Oh yeah. So I replied to him and I asked him that same question, and he answered and said, "I'm a realist. Last year nobody thought we would win 3. Now there's hope and expectations. One thing I know about this team is when we have both, we're dog shit. We had Eli, Odell, rookie Saquon, overpaid D, boom, dog shit."
Does he understand what expectations mean? It means you win more games than what you just. What are his expectations?
His expectations.
Talking about the autistic kid getting a C in English or something. Like, what is this?
So there's Jose. Thank you for your comment there. Moving on, Peanut Butter and Jelly 69. I'm a Bucks fan, and my expectations is to have a top 10 defense and have an offense that looks very sloppy. Hopefully, we can draft Caleb Williams.
It's the moment you said Peanut Butter 69, I knew we had to be a Bucks fan, man.
PB and slap some jelly on that.
This man is going to have a Baker Mayfield sex doll, and he's going to be rubbing peanut butter on his ass and licking it off. That's going to be great.
My brain was like peanut.
Jesus.
When Jenna was like peanut butter and then a 69, I was like,
Bucks fan. Oh, that's too good.
Next one, this one had me dying. Ryan Browning 820. Texans get the #1 draft pick and not fuck up like they did last year. I walked out of Lucas Oil Stadium excited for the #1 pick and got to my car pissed off. I guess remember them.
Oh, he's not a Lovie Smith fan.
Right, exactly.
I do think the quarterback class is better this next year, so maybe
he's on.
Maybe Lovie Smith did him a favor.
Right.
Nah, because Houston doesn't own that pick. Arizona does because they traded it to get that DN from Alabama.
Oh, shit, that's right.
Yeah, so I mean, Arizona has Houston. That's and their own. So both teams are going to suck like shit, and they're probably not getting the first and second picks in the draft.
Pierce says Cowboys fan, 2 playoff wins. Dan the Raider fan, split with Chiefs and Chargers sweep Broncos. Straw Hat Luffy, Pats Nation, let's make the playoffs and not let the Bills sweep us. Straw Hat, we have the same expectations. Delray James, Lions are going to win a playoff game for the first time since '91.
Ooh, that's a good one.
There we go.
Going back real quick, is that Cowboys fan, is he basically conceding that they're not going to win the division if he says they're going to win 2 playoff games? Because they're not going to the Super Bowl. So the only way they're getting 2 playoff wins is if they have to play in the wild card.
Right.
Yeah, I'm pretty much certain he's looking at them being a wild card. Probably conceded the division to Philadelphia.
I don't think the NFC East is going to be the 4th-rated division winner in the conference. That's going to be whoever the NFC South is.
Right.
By far.
I saved the best for last year. Heisenberg 173 says, as a Seahawks fan, it's never Super Bowl or bust. We're always happy if our team makes the playoffs. I think they'll get 1 playoff win and not be a wild card. That was
okay. First of all, who the fuck is this guy saying that we're just happy to make the playoffs? And who can speak? All Seahawks fan. What's his name?
Heisenberg.
What?
Heisenberg. 173.
Heisenberg. All right, you fucking German socialist. Shut up. You don't get to speak. All the 12s. God, what a douche. I would actually love to hear like what everybody thinks their team is actually going to do before we move on. I want to hear everyone's expectations because it's been a while since I heard Nestor's nonsense about the Dolphins because we did the AFC East so long ago, and we haven't been able to hear Jack's idea about Steelers. So I'd like to do a roundtable real quick and hear what everyone thinks their own squads are going to do. I don't know who you want to go first.
Let's start with Shaq. We've been waiting since as long as the Lions been waiting for a playoff game. So go ahead, Shaq.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna say 10-7 is what we'll be doing for my team.
Okay.
We went 9-8 last season, so what's another win on top of it? So I'll take that. I still think that's the line that's in a wonderful 3rd place spot in the division because Cincy and Baltimore are still at the top of. And I think Browns quarterback will be too busy getting rubbed down for them to matter towards the end of the year. So
So is 10-7 going to be good enough to make the playoffs, in your opinion? If you're saying you're
I
going to be
think-
third in,
I think we might flirt with that wonderful wild card spot, but I think it might end up getting snatched up from us last second.
Okay. There we go.
We
think
at this point we're just happy Tomlin maintains winning seasons. That's all.
correct me if I'm wrong, G Money, but I think the Cardinals back in 2013 was the last 10-win team to win 10 games and not make the playoffs. That was the year that Seattle and San Francisco were 13 and 12 wins, and they went to the NFC Championship. I think that's the last time. So it's been almost 10 years. That's got to suck if you win 10 games and don't go to the playoffs. That's some bullshit.
That would be reluctant.
Yeah.
Nestor, what's your expectations for Miami besides the possibility of your O-line ending up on the moon?
I don't know. I have him 10-7, or if I'm being really optimistic, maybe 11-6. But I feel like the ground is beneath us is slowly like crumbling.
hope it's
Jalen Ramsey's injured. I think Mike White had like a concussion a few days ago. Waddle, I don't know what the hell happened to him in training. I didn't bother to watch the preseason because it was pissing me off. I feel like if we can hit the ground running and not falling into concussions, I think we're gonna, 11-6, 10-7. We're gonna finally go into the playoffs and hopefully make a deep run. If Tua gets injured, or one of our receivers like Waddle gets injured, and then we don't have Jalen Ramsey, our O-line is being trash, I don't expect much. I think we're gonna honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we have a losing record.
What do you think is more likely to happen? I'm being real. Like, what do you think is trying to talk shit? What do you think is more likely, winning that 10 or 11 games, or all of those bad things happening?
What I feel is gonna happen is Tua's not gonna get injured. I'm hopeful. Like I said, I'm being optimistic. Like I have my Dolphins going on a win streak, week 2, week 3, and week 4. Like they're beating the Patriots, they're beating Broncos, and they're beating the Bills. Because we've beaten the Bills before. We know how to beat
3
the Bills.
games. Got it.
But yeah, I mean, tough teams. They're good teams, except the Broncos. But
It's a very good team.
I feel like we're gonna have a receiver injured. I feel like we're gonna have a wide receiver injured. I don't know why I'm getting that. And I feel like we're gonna go into the playoffs. But as far as Super Bowl goals or getting far, I don't think so. Just because of our issues with injuries. So yeah.
And when you said that they were going to go on, you saw them going on a win streak, and you started 2, 3, 4. I thought you were going to keep going. And you're like, that's it.
No, just 2, 3, 4.
3.
Beat the Giants.
We're done. Oh man. Do you want me to go next, Jalen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I mean, a little bit of teaser with because we're doing the NFC West next week or whatever. I see the Seahawks winning anywhere between 10 to 12 games next year. I'll tell you what that number is next week. I think that our offense with Smith and Jigba, even though he has to have a little wrist surgery, he's probably going to be out the first couple weeks of the season. Seahawks always start slow anyways. I think that with him in the slot, you got Lockett, you got Metcalf, you got Geno that's accurate as hell. You got Walker at running back. Charbonnet is running like a beast. Our offensive line needs to really start playing better ball because they're more talented than what they're showing us in the preseason right now. But I think our defense is going to be pretty fucking stout. Derek Brooks and Jamal Adams both came off the PUP list within the last 10 days. And if those two can stay healthy, which is almost like Nestor trying to talk him, saying like Jamal Adams is going to stay healthy is like Nestor trying to convince himself that Tua is going to stay healthy. But I'm going to use the same word if, this big ass word if he can stay healthy and Seattle can run that type of attack defense that they want to, Jamal Adams, I think they can contend for the division this year. I think they are overlooked because everyone keeps looking at the proven roster that San Francisco has right now. But I think we're looking at the same type of thing that we had cooking in 2010, 11, and 12, and 13, where the 49ers were the big men on top for a couple years. And in 2012, people were sleeping on the Seahawks because they had a great roster that nobody knew about. After this year, people are going to know a lot more of those names. And I think this year, next year, are going to be a huge stepping stone for them to be championship contenders again. And I think they can actually do it. I do not think, with the way that Pete Carroll and John Snyder have turned this team around, I don't think the window is closed with Pete Carroll yet. I really don't think it is. So, my expectation, 10 to 12 wins.
All right, G Money.
So my expectation is we should be able to get to the divisional round of the playoffs. I don't have us winning the division. I still think that the 49ers are too stacked, both defensively and offensively right now. Even though they're going to start Brock Purdy at quarterback, and he'll get injured. And then they'll roll in with Sam Darnold, and he'll get injured. And if Trey Lance is still on their team, because he didn't show up for practice today. He was like, fuck that, not showing up. Yeah, I'm not the starter. I'm not the I'm not even your number 2. I'm your number 3. Yeah, maybe I don't need to be there. But with the Seahawks, the thing that's bothering me right now is we've got too many injuries to all our draft picks of this year. I mean, Jamal probably will not play the first week or 2 of the season. Jordan Brooks, we'll see. Jackson is probably not going to play until the 3rd week of the season, which I don't think that's going to change a lot of what they do on defense, but I mean on offense, because Slow-Mo Bobo, who runs a 40 in like 10.57. Now he actually ran it in like 4.93.
It was 4.99.
It was 4.93 actually, and he'll tell you it was 4.93.
I thought he was
4.99. He kind of, if you look at him and you watch, kind of reminds you of Steve Largent, who also was not very was not fast, did not have speed, but had the ability to maneuver the DBs to a point where he was open. So offensively, I don't feel too bad, but defensively, I don't know. I mean, we've already lost 3 defensive players that we drafted this draft that have been injured in the preseason, and they're questionable whether or not they're going to start week 1, week 2. I mean, we already had questions on the D line. We had questions at linebacker. The only place we didn't have questions at were at the DB, and Witherspoon's going to be out for a little bit. Reek, we'll see if Reek comes back the first week. Mike Jackson and Trey can play well, but Mike didn't look so good the last preseason game. He didn't look good at all, really. So we'll see. But I think even with all of that, this is one year where the NFC is not strong. You've got a couple of good teams, and the rest, you're going to roll the dice on. And I see Seattle coming in second in the West. but probably being the number 1 or number 2 playoff team, wild card team, and winning the first round, whoever they play. Hopefully they're the number 1, so they have to come up here to play. But I don't think it's going to make any difference. I think Seattle is going to be good enough to get past that first playoff game and then go to the divisional round, and we'll see what happens then. I mean, I'd love to see them in the Super Bowl because Vegas isn't that far away.
That would be fun. It'd be an expensive trip, but we would make it. Oh, damn. I would go to that Raiders toilet bowl in a heartbeat.
For my team,
What about
Freaking Death Star.
my expectation, someone mentioned in the comments, but it is just to simply put up a good fight in a playoff game. Seeing that we've only played the playoffs once since Brady left, we need to get back there and not get just completely wiped out by whoever we play. So as long as we can just make the playoffs and just look, solid, play a good game, not even expecting us to win, that's my only expectation, is just to get back to the playoffs and look all right. Besides that, however we get there, I don't care. Just as long as we get back to the damn playoffs. Keeping it simple.
the mighty have fallen.
Yes.
Well, it's tough because, you the Patriots ruled the AFC East for, almost 2 decades. I mean, it was the Patriots and maybe one of the other 3 teams would get lucky enough to luck into a playoff spot. But you were almost guaranteed that the Patriots were going to be playing in the AFC Championship game. I mean, that was the easy money bet.
Yeah.
All right, last segment.
Yeah. Now let's get into what's up with that. This is where we air out our grievances with the world of sports in the last week. Malin, let's start with you, sir.
Okay. 2 things. First one's real fast because we're going to air out grievances of things we hate. But I want to talk about something that I love first. And I love the fact that the Bucks named Baker Mayfield their starting quarterback. Absolutely love it. I think it's the greatest thing ever. That dog shit organization goes from Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield. Season ticket holders can't sell tickets. It's phenomenal. I have so many people telling me that they don't think they're going to be able to afford their season tickets anymore. Can't sell any of their tickets because they're actually too poor to be able to own them, and they were selling some of them to be able to keep paying for them, and they can't get rid of them anymore. So they're going to actually have to endure all 8 weeks at the stadium, but this time they're not going to have Tom Brady. So I fucking love that. Baker Mayfield is wonderful. So about my grievance, this is just further devaluation of the running back position, and I really kind of hate what's happening to Jonathan Taylor right now, because you got crackhead Irsay saying that I don't want to pay you top running back money, even though you're a top running back. I don't want to pay you top running back money. And so I'm going to go ahead and tell you that you can seek a trade. When I tell you that you can seek a trade, I'm going to put the value of what I need to get back in return for you as top running back compensation. So that no one's going to want to trade for you because they don't want to give up the first round picks and then pay you the money. So, it's every NFL organization, they value the NFL running back, the Jonathan Taylors, the Josh Jacobs, because if you try to trade for him, they want a king's ransom for it. But they won't just pay you what you're worth or what they're valuing you in the trade market. They're just lowballing you, knowing that nobody is going to pay you what you're worth. And so when it comes to the running back position, and this is going to really start to happen, is what I really hate about it, is that the game of football is becoming more and more one-dimensional with the passing game. And I don't think that's good for the sport. you don't want everyone to be running the same offense. That's going to get boring. That's going to get stale. You need running backs. You need really good running backs. But every talented football player right now in high school, why would they want to be a running back? They're looking at it, they're like, I'm not going to get paid. I might as well switch to DB. DBs are more highly valued than running backs. I mean, hell, I went to high school with Marcus Trufant, all-state running back, my high school. Went and played DB at Washington State. Made a killing with the Seattle Seahawks and the Washington Redskins as a DB. Great running backs in high school can become even greater defensive backs and safeties in the NFL. Like, what is the incentive for people to want to go through the high school, college ranks to get to the NFL to be a great running back if they're never going to get paid? You know, and yes, you could say, well, getting paid $10 million for one season is getting paid, but that's nothing compared to what DBs and safeties and these other skill positions are getting paid. And so if they keep devaluing the position the way they are, you're going to end up with a one-dimensional NFL, which I do not think is good for the sport. I do think that a good thing that could happen, someone brought this up, I don't remember who it was, I wish I could give them credit, was that there was a different wage scale for running backs in the NFL or in the draft, to where it doesn't matter if you're drafted round 1 or 5 or 6. There was, even if you were drafted round 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever as a running back, you could potentially get paid first round money as a running back and get that 5-year guaranteed contract to where they get paid more money up front, because a bulk of their prime is going to come before their payday, and owners don't want to pay them after that bulk. And there's precedent on why not. I mean, hell, Zeke ate his way out of Dallas and into a New England uniform. I get it. There's been other running backs that have done that too. But there's plenty of running backs that are drafted in the 3rd and 4th rounds that end up being all pros, end up being Pro Bowl players that never get that payday in the NFL. And I think that's the travesty, and I think it's going to lead to bad things if they don't fix it. So it kind of pisses me off that it's happening. Like, the NFL needs to do something to bring value back to that position, because I don't want in all 32 teams running the same damn offense.
All right. Shaq, what is your what's up with that?
My what's up with that is just something I find funny, and it goes back to Tampa, of course. It kind of sort of what Melon said, that the Bucks will no longer be the most entertaining thing that happens at Raymond James Stadium again. It'll be funny. Between Sunset, Monster Jam, and every other event that goes on at Raymond James Stadium, all of them would still be more entertaining than what the Bucks would be doing there every single Sunday. And I find that funny as hell to me. That's all I'm saying. I will probably see more traffic at Monster Jam at Raymond James Stadium than I will see at any given Bucks game on a Sunday. And I find that the best joy as a person that lives in Tampa. There used to be a time Tom Brady's out down here. Don't you dare drive by that stadium on a Sunday, because you ain't going nowhere now. Now, man, you probably want to hit that break one single bit going by that stadium. So I'm just happy, and it brings me joy. God bless y'all trying to sell them tickets. I wouldn't go to a Bucks game for free.
As a show, though, I think we'll get better price tickets if we go to a primetime game like Sunday night or Monday night, like we did last year. We went to that Monday night game. I think we'll get some cheaper tickets. Go see some Baker ball, get some interviews.
G Money, what is your what's up with that this week?
So, in the news again, another professional sports player does something stupid off the field to jeopardize their livelihood. Sam Williams, defensive end for the Cowboys, got pulled over the other day in Frisco, Texas. He had controlled substance, and he had a gun in his car. Now, the gun really shouldn't make any difference, because Texas State changed their gun laws where you could actually drive with a gun in your car. It's considered in your possession, and you don't need a concealed weapons permit or anything like that. But the fact is, this isn't the first time for Sam. In December, he got into an accident where he's driving 98 in a 55, and he and the other driver had to spend some time in the hospital. It's like, the fuck? Do you not learn? Do you not realize that you make more money playing professional football than you are going to make not playing professional football? I mean, it's interesting because going to work this morning, I was listening to Seattle Sports Radio, and they were talking to some of the players, and like, so what do you guys do after practice? And they're saying, like, I go home. He goes, I go. They're talking to they're talking to Gino, and Gino's like, yeah, because I'm married. I don't go hanging out anymore. No shit, Gino, because the last time you did that in December of last year, you got pulled over, and you're just lucky that they couldn't that they lost your sample, or you would have been busted for DUI. But most players now are realizing that what you do off the field can definitely affect your livelihood on the field or on the court, because teams just won't put up with it. You'll get suspended by the NFL or the NBA or Major League Baseball. Let's not talk about the Dominican, who may well never play baseball again.
Well,
Yeah.
Sicko.
I mean, it's things that if you don't think about them and you think it's no big deal, it is a big deal, because the moment that happens, the moment you do something stupid, everybody knows about it. It's not like, any one of us could do something stupid. And I've done a lot of stupid shit. I'm just really happy that there wasn't any social media back then. But people don't know about it. That it's not in the paper. It's not on the news. Sportscasters aren't talking about it. These guys, you risk hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars from making a bad decision, and then compounding it by making more bad decisions. I mean, at some point you've got to stop and think, hey, if I'm not playing football, if I'm not playing basketball, what am I doing? What's my next job? Am I all of a sudden working at Piggly Wiggly or Costco, making $50 an hour? I mean, it's like you got to think that money's not going to last forever, and the moment you screw up, they'll replace your ass. It's like, okay, yeah, you're making $2.5 million, but the NFL is going to suspend him. That'll happen, and maybe Dallas cuts him, and then he'll be sitting at home wondering what the fuck happened. Guys, be smart. You get one shot at making a lot of money. Don't blow it.
Do you guys know about what's happening with Wander Franco with the Rays? Did you guys heard about that? I know you guys aren't big into baseball. Well, I know you are. I'm asking if everybody else does.
I have not.
Okay, so the Rays have a all-world talent. I believe he's a shortstop. He came up last year. I know he came up last year because he tattooed the debut that he made it into Major League Baseball on his neck. Maybe he'll put the day he's sentenced to prison for a lot of years, like right under that. But it's come into light that I'd have a kid with a 14-year-old. And there's other allegations of other children under the age of 16 that he may or may not have been involved with. And what really sickens me, this is what pisses me off about the Rays, bullshit organization for this, that Major League Baseball has had to step in twice and put him on two different lists to get him away from the team because the Rays have refused to take action.
Hmm.
Rays haven't done shit. It was Major League Baseball that had to put him on a restricted list, which means he couldn't play, and then they had to put him on an administrative leave that meant that he couldn't be around the ball club because the Rays refused. They haven't even said anything about it. That dog shit organization. So they can kiss my ass. They love pedophiles. I said it. Fuck that city in St. Petersburg. Drop the nuke there. Fuck that town. Fuck that team. And fuck him for taking advantage of young women. I don't give a shit if you're from the Dominican Republic. Get someone your own age, you freaking dumbass.
Reach.
Nestor, what is your what's up with that?
I got and I don't really have a legit what's up with that in our world of on our side of the map, but I just I was trying to look for something because there was nothing. I didn't even know Ryan Clark had said some shit about Tua. I didn't even know Ryan Clark said Tua looked thick, but I don't even know if that's kind of weird. Tua said keep basically.
I mean, what was he doing in the shower with Tua? That's my question.
God damn.
And, Tua's just like keep your name out of my mouth, and it's just like I don't know. It's just a strange situation. But I have a little gripe, and I think we touched upon it a little bit with golf like months ago. But in as far as I'm sorry, as far as soccer goes, the fact that the top, he's probably like top 10 now, but he was top 5 at once. The fact that Neymar went to Saudi Arabia over just continuing his career when he could have continued his career and put up more stats, it's just sad because I guess all these rejects are going over there for money when they could have kept their career going. Yeah, nobody wants to see Neymar make a pass to a number 9 in Saudi Arabia, whatever his name is, and then just score. It's just boring football, in my opinion. I would have loved to see Neymar on another good team. It's just sad that Saudi Arabia money is just taking all these good players and just destroying their careers because there's nothing after that. We saw the Chinese league take a bunch of players and that flopped. I don't care how much money, how much oil these guys have, and it's not a dig on them, like specifically because of where they're located. It's just that they don't know about the sport. They just think by buying a bunch of stars and like, okay, we have this guy, we have Ronaldo, we have Neymar, we have all these star players, we're gonna make a league and it's gonna be fantastic. And it's actually trash because you don't understand the sport and you're not actually spending the time to actually understand it. So that's just my gripe.
Well, you started off by talking golf, and then you talked about soccer for 3 minutes.
Well, we touched upon it when we were talking about the live, right? When they split it and
Live.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're mad at Liv?
That side of the world.
I was just saying as an example, we touched upon Saudi Arabia money.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
oil
so
money. We touched
you-
when
you
we're talking about
started
golf.
with golf to end up talking about soccer. Okay, I thought he was actually having a gripe with golf, and I was like, I didn't even know.
You guys froze.
Although golf. That was,
I got
that was
thrown up about like big comment, but
To round
crazy
things
conversation, though.
to round things out, my what's up with that is the fact that Trey Lance apparently is now the third string quarterback in San Francisco behind Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold, and then didn't show up to practice either today or yesterday, but looks like the 49ers are going to be moving off of Trey Lance, their former first round draft pick. So what do you guys think about Trey Lance kind of seeming like a dud?
I
butchered
think
my
it
boy.
could've- first of all, I think it could have been predicted. I saw a stat that Geno Smith last year threw more passes, 608, than Trey Lance has thrown in high school, college, and the pros so far. He's only thrown 591 passes in high school, college, and the pros.
Wow.
Now, a lot of that's because of COVID.
Right.
As 1 year in college, he only got to play one game. But you're taking a Division II quarterback that played one season and then one game, and you were looking for the next Carson Wentz without a blown out knee. I think that the 49ers got extraordinarily lucky if Brock Purdy pans out. I'm not 100% sure he's going to pan out, but last year when he was healthy, that offense, he was 8-0. You're talking about a team that gave up 3 first-round draft picks for one player that I think is going to end up playing 4 or 5 games for you. And the type of players, they could have had Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
They could have had Waddle. They could have had Michael. The 49ers held the 12th pick that year in the draft before they moved up. You want to know who went number 12 that year in the draft? Micah Parsons. Could you imagine that 49er defense with Bosa and Parsons? Oh my God, I'm so fucking glad the 49ers made that trade. So yes, they still have a stacked roster, but at some point, giving away those 3 first-round picks for that dud is going to end up hurting that roster, and they're going to have to reload quicker, and they're not as stout as they could have been because of that decision that they made. Now, they may or may not have lucked out with Purdy. If Purdy does what Purdy did last year, then they can hold off a lot of that and make some of that back because they'll have a number 7 round draft pick they're paying nothing to for 4 years. So they'll have time to reload. But if he ends up being a middle of the road quarterback, they're going to be fucked. So I think that that's a big swing and miss. One thing if you just draft a first round quarterback and they don't work out, but to give up what you gave up and for this to happen, man, that's a black mark. And he's probably at a Rogaine clinic with Trey Young. That's why he didn't go to practice.
Well, boo-hoo for the 49ers, but they'll figure it out one way or another. I think that will do it for this week's episode, folks. That'll make a show. Anything else you guys want to mention before we get up out of here?
I just want to say I'm glad Shaq's back.
Yes,
sir.
Yeah. It is good to see you back, man.
Come back as a common friend every Wednesday.
Phone number, address to a dentist somewhere down south, and we were never going to see you again.
Nestor gave me a hookup to his dentist.
I thought India sent his ass to the south end of the moon. To be honest with you, I was like, shit, I don't know what 2 moons is gonna do. Gravitation pull of the Earth. We're about to get fucked up. I've seen some movies with the moon, but I'm glad he's still here. We missed you, man. You better be back next week. Don't make me come find your ass.
I'll be back. I'll be here.
Yes, that'll do it for this week's episode, folks. Again, another thank you to TD for joining us in the first half. G Money, thanks again for always coming through the second half of the show. We will talk to you all next week. Be sure to follow us at AFR Sports, and have a good week.
Happy 150, everybody.